What was that? Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 in the shed here working on Bowser. A lot has been done in the past week or so. So first up in the front here, so Darren spent many hours fixing this front grille for me. And as you can see, it's come up so good. I'm really happy with how it looks. So these original grills came on the ex-Army Unimogs and they're kind of notorious for rusting out kind of in the back without you even really knowing. It's quite a thin gauge steel, as well as there's some pockets that can't kind of breathe, so they get moisture and then it rusts out from the inside. And ours had so much more than I realized. Probably didn't help with all of the coastal driving we've done in Bowser since we've owned them. But Darren did a fantastic job, as well as slightly modifying it to fit the air-to-air intercooler, which sticks out proud from the radiator. I'm really happy with it looking black. I reckon that's broken up the sandy look and makes Bowser look a lot tougher. From Stu, got that laser cut little emblem of Bowser, which I'm really happy with. This is looking great, the bar that Darren had designed. Got the big Runva winch back on with the Sabre shackle. And we've got the lights still to go in there, waiting on those to arrive this week. I'm about to drill in these little side lights. The front axle is all back together now. That was a mission of a job, but all went successfully, and we've also got the camber correction blocks in there nicely. They look really good. Camber correction kit. Awesome.
Out of the shop.
Really good. All right, so the first part of one of the portals is back into place. That actually went relatively smoothly, just very heavy. And now Darren is lubing up one of the Mog Central Camber correction kits. And these are really, really nice. So the Mog has really strong negative camber, which kind of brings the wheels in, you could say, towards the center line. And that, we don't really know exactly why Mercedes did that. Darren's thoughts are that it helps create more contact patch off-road, so therefore makes the Unimog more capable. But it makes the tyres wear poorly on-road, as well as some strange handling characteristics. So changing the camber to be more neutral will have a huge effect on tyre wear, and we're not going to lose any off-road capability. All right, so that just slots right in here. Very cool. And sets that camber back to the way it would sort of be on most other vehicles.
Back to road friendly.
Awesome. Look at that. And we have got really good mesh with the unis.
That's all a bit finicky. I shouldn't be making so much noise.
Alrighty, so the main part of the hub is on, and now I am checking basically how many shims are needed for this top knuckle assembly, and that's been pretty straightforward. So thankfully Darren's got all of the manuals here on ring binder, really easy to just flick through and find the exact right page. So first up with the vernier calipers, we figure out what the depth of this surface is once load has been taken off the hub. So we've got a little scissor jack underneath here. That gives me one measurement. Then the other measurement I get is the depth of within the top plate. Then we find the difference between those two measurements. Then we add 0.2 millimeters to 0.3 mil. And then that will determine, whatever number is left over determines the thickness of the shims. And the shims that were already in this top plate, these ones here, there's two of them, that worked out to be exactly in spec. So I'm very happy with that. So no extra shimming needs to be done, or no shims need to be removed. So I'll do the same when we do the other side. But all is going smoothly so far, I think. And then we can start working on the other main gear that will need to go in. Awesome. Offer it.
Yep.
To the gods.
Okay, let go of the plate. So I'm going to get these.
Must be close. It's not helping.
Why? But it's because it's heavy. Because it's heavy. Want to have a crank?
Yes.
I reckon it is. Yeah, so definitely on this side here now, I reckon.
Yep, that's home there.
Perfect, man. Pull the ring out. Do a quick scan of all the bearings. You can hear anything go tinkle tinkle. Perfect. Perfect. Bolts. Let's go.
Don't mind me.
Don't mind me. Ah!
In the tyre.
To the next tire.
To the next tire. You think you can get out by yourself?
Oh, you're getting a bit grubby in there.
I'm stuck.
You're stuck. You ready for one big jump? 1, 2, 3, big jump. Oh, didn't even need to. 1, 2, 3, big jump.
And it disappears.
Wow.
That's this next one.
Yeah, all of that. All this. What do you need?
Who knows? It just does its own thing sometimes.
Yeah, rotate it out.
Oh, so it's just the top one then.
And like her fringe left springs. So, because yeah, we've got 2 other logs in
Let
there.
it bash with something maybe. Well, there we go. That'll do it.
Wow! Tugging the right spot.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
So does the orientation on that matter? Because that's obviously the bottom we're talking.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, there you
Yep.
go.
So we whacked this one in. Actually, what we found last time
You've got a horse now.
was
Yeah, actually, I was meant to ask you.
we put them together, didn't we?
Oh, and then just dropped it.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't matter where the nipple is.
Not really.
You just let her.
Is it moving?
Only round wards. Okay, stand by.
Would help if I tried to hold it out and then.
Yeah, mate. No,
No?
I don't know.
It's random, isn't
I
it?
don't know.
It's totally
I'm
random.
sure. Swing that out. Do the old swing out and drop down. And
Swing out,
You
drop
swing. Yeah, let Chris swing in your dong.
Okay.
Because it's heavy. And I'll just sit back here and go. Yep, that's it. Done. Alright. What's that doing for you?
No, nothing.
It's a self-centering cockle-eye. Yeah. I don't know what you call it. What would you call it? Cockle-eye.
Oscillating bearing?
That's okay.
Yeah.
Boring. Cockle-eye.
I'll call it a cockle light.
Yeah. Why is it not going down, Christopher? I don't know. Yeah, that's a sim. Yeah. And then just sit on the top of that bearing ever so.
You sure I want to be sitting on top of that?
Yeah, well, it shouldn't take too much force. So you load it up, and then you dong it.
Is that going?
Yeah, I
Good. Good to keep going.
Yep.
think so. It's gone.
It's off that one. So much tighter though.
Yeah. That's just a relief
Oh, that
thing
always
for you
is
spinning the cockle eye in.
Oh, the cockle eye.
Swap sides.
Right, dong away, mate. Yep. There we go.
Nice.
Well
Good
done,
donging.
gentlemen.
Good donger.
Yep.
He's a strong donger.
Proper.
Okay. Nice. Cool. Okay, chuck that back down. See if Yep. Nice. I think. Nearly. Thanks, man. Oh, there we go. There it is.
Awesome.
Flick.
All right, so both hubs are back on. So yeah, very happy with that. And Nathan, a bloke who lives down the road, also has a Unimog. He's a heavy diesel mechanic for CAT, heavy machinery. He kind of got stuck in yesterday as well. Those are mostly back together. I've done the brakes on one side. Now I need to replace the brake shoes on this side and then put the brakes back on, and then we'll need to bleed it. I did my first sort of welding fabrication repair job on these guards here. You can probably see the piece of steel I've stitched in here. This had rusted between this seam all the way down, so I had to actually cut it out and put this in, bend it all to shape. And the same on this side of the guard as well, but it came out really nicely, as well as we put some new rubber in for the flaps, and they look really good. Next up, I did a bit of a major repair up here on the roof. So I think while it was parked for that couple of years, a rust spot had grown. I think it was leaking on the roof and running down sort of into behind the gutter channel. Also a bit of a notorious spot for these to rust in these gutters up here. But that was a proper hole. Once I started digging into it, that hole got bigger and bigger and bigger, which was terrifying. But I cut up a couple of pieces of steel, bent them to shape, and MIG welded them onto the cab. A little bit of car filler over them and some touch-up paint. And it's come up really, really good. I'm really happy with it. You can sort of see, because the touch-up paint is a bit shinier than the Raptor, but that will dull in time. And we also tackled some rust that was under the windscreen here. Not major, but enough to sort of make me have to pick off some of that Raptor coat. And then there was a bit of rust forming in the gutters, so I cleaned that up, painted those black. And I'll actually just show you up on the roof. Darren has built, can't really see it from here, but he's made some cross beams for the rack for the boat to actually sit on top of. So before the boat was actually sitting on the roof, I only had these two Rhino Rack crossbeam bars, but Darren had a couple of spares which he's cut and formed some brackets and made it so that the boat can sit off of the roof a bit higher, and then I can have the Sabre recovery gear bag underneath that. And that's actually also helping raise the visual height of the cab and making our camper box seem a little bit less tall. And all the black edging came out really nice. I'm very, very happy with that. Huge amount of work involved with that, but it's come up as good as I was hoping it would.
Hi, Ugly.
There was also some rust on this beam here. You would have seen in some previous videos. That's all been cleaned up nicely. Was able to get in behind there and tackle any surface rust that I needed to. Job in progress is the spare tire, figuring out how we can make that fit better in this position. More on that later. Just replaced the brake pads on this rear brake here. Going around, got some, bit dark in here, but got some new rubbish bags, some XTM ones from BCF. They're wider and a little bit shorter than our previous Kings ones. And I've mounted these tracks up here for that to sit on. and that's come up nicely. So that used to be on the front of the grill. Now put that on the rear here. And I've removed the light brackets. It's looking a little bit empty here. So these were the old light brackets that went on the back of the truck. They actually bolted to the chassis with a huge, unnecessarily thick bit of steel. If people were reversing in the bush, you could kind of nudge trees and stuff out of the way with it. Whereas we can't do that because of the box on the back. Complete waste of weight, and they are really heavy. So that was where the license plate went on there, as well as the old military lights. These are the military lights here, and they're actually pretty chunky and heavy as well. So I'm actually starting to get rid of the military stuff. I really like the old military stuff, but we've been rocking that for so long now. I think it's time for Bowser to have a bit of a visual upgrade, as well as just having LED lights is going to be a lot better than having to replace bulbs all the time. Yeah, it is.
It's the same.
Yeah, they're all the same color, but this makes them different color. It's like a lens. So we've got indicator that tells people whether we're going left or right.
Yeah.
Brake light tells people we're stopping, and the reverse light tells people that we're going backwards. And these are light bulbs. You see inside?
Yes.
Called the filament.
Filament is inside this way.
Yeah.
See, you do light bulbs?
And these run on electricity.
Yeah, I would listen.
Yeah, from our car battery.
Yeah, for the car battery. You got the white one, the cards. That one.
Yeah.
That one is this one.
So we've got some new rear indicator reverse brake lights on the way that I can fit on the back. I'll probably just put those on the back of the original toolboxes. And then Stu in WA, who has made the light brackets, I think I'm going to have him make us a couple of boxes that he's designed for the rear, some big fat toolboxes, which will be a massive plus for us, because I'm always looking for, storing oils and things. I might even be able to fit a barbecue in it. So that's to be confirmed, but hopefully that'll be this year. Now this is one of the old front cab mounts. I'm not going to be able to demonstrate with the podgy bar, but you can probably see the big crack down here, which runs all the way through this rubber, right down and through there. So that mount there, that was the front cab mount, which kind of bolts in just above the spring perch here. That was completely shot on the passenger side. That would have made the cab feel like it was slamming down on steel, basically. So we've replaced that from Mog Central. The driver's side one was not too parish, so I've left that in there for now. And also this bolt here in the front cab mount had been loose. Who knows for how long that could have happened on any number of the corrugated roads. So that's now all tightened up. So I think the ride is going to be much more comfortable. Plus having these newer tires, I think that's going to make a really big difference. Then Darren and I did a relatively basic but pretty accurate toe in, toe out sort of alignment there. So we ran a tape measure between the two tires in the front here, on the front and on the back of the axle, and got our alignment in really nicely there. Darren's just going to help me slightly realign the steering wheel, and then I think the wheel alignment will be better than it's ever been as well. So it should track on the road quite nicely. Definitely need a hand.
Oh, do you? Yeah. It's a long way up.
Yeah, I've never lifted it this high. There we go, we're close. There we go. Darren also plumbed in a EGT and boost gauge, which you can just see here, not on right now. So that pyrometer was drilled and tapped in the exhaust manifold itself just before the turbo, so we'll be able to get the most accurate readings possible. We haven't taken Bowser for a test drive yet, definitely film that when we do. We are pumped to see how it runs on road now. So unfortunately we are being delayed taking it for its first test drive due to the right rear brake caliper. So this weird bloody thing here, that is the handbrake mechanism that screws to the back of the caliper. That had been leaking for a really long time. It was filling up with brake fluid and I just couldn't stop the leak. And there should never be any fluid in that because it's actually 3 levels of roller bearings. It's a bizarre design that Mercedes came up with. That has a series of O-rings as well as these annoying little toothed apparatus, which is all sheared and mangled up. It's a long story and it's highly complicated actually for what it's actually trying to achieve. It seems like they've gone for a very overcomplicated way of designing it. We're having quite a bit of trouble getting that to work properly. It should auto adjust the amount of brake pressure being applied by the handbrake as the brake pads wear, but that definitely hasn't been working, and I believe one of the O-rings, not that one, but a different one, that was all chewed to bits, so that's what was causing the brake fluid leaking into that little drum type thing. Now we've had to order a new one of these from Mog Central as well as another kit of O-rings. So hopefully we can get that sorted and then I can slap the wheels back on, bleed the brakes, and Bowser will be ready to drive.
All right.
Whoa! 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 Whoa!
Is that? I'll spin that around. Oh, good lord.
Oh man, it's like the Sarlacc pit. You're ready for it to weigh way more than you realize.
Yeah.
God, this is an ugly thing.
This is a super ugly thing. It's got the vibe that it's like an engineer designed it. It would just run out of ideas.
They're like, you know what? We'll just slap 3 roller bearing races in there and be done with it.
Yeah.
This is like end of the war engineering mentality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh my god. Okay. Wow. That's the plunger. So that's...
Okay, so Darren and I have been trying to kind of ascertain how the rear caliper system works. So the rear caliper is very different from the front in that it also actuates via the handbrake. So the handbrake applies pressure to this piston here, which turns like almost like a cam, which engages the caliper. Now the large cylinder that screws into the back of the caliper, that's not meant to be filled with brake fluid, which for me it had been for quite some time. There was no way I could do this job kind of on the side of the road sort of thing. I had took it upon myself to try and temporarily fix the issue of the leaking by plugging it up with, it's almost like a concrete sort of setting repair putty called Knead It, and it forms an incredibly hard bond, and it's a great thing to have. And it works for water, it works for like diesel, it works for all kinds of fluids, and it worked temporarily for this. It at least stopped from losing brake fluid the whole time, which was the main thing. That cylinder shouldn't have been filled with fluid. The reason being in that it is filled with these roller bearings. So there are 3 separate bearings here. Now that has this kind of cam style system sitting inside it. So this goes back and forward when the handbrake actuates, which in turn pushes one side of the brake caliper on, which is very worn, so much more than the other side, which has a little bit more meat to it. So that handbrake is dragging as well. Now we're not too sure why it is dragging, but it's a really complicated system. As you can see here, this is a little adjustable gear on the inside here that comes down, turns this mechanism, which is in here. So it gets plunged in, that goes in and adjusts this brake cylinder here. And then you've got another adjusting screw on the back. But in here, it's really complicated. There's a spring that rides here, and right on this face is an O-ring. And that O-ring is toast, so that is the cause of my leak. So you can imagine that O-ring was inside here, as the brake fluid would be engaging the cylinder hydraulically. This was letting fluid leak past this way into that large mechanism which attached here. What Darren suspects is that this caliper here, the cylinders have been resealed by the army, and when they've put this back in, the O-ring has not seated properly. It's grabbed and torn it, and it's probably been leaking into that larger cylinder since then. So definitely not ideal, because brake fluid with those roller bearings, after a while it'll kind of destroy the roller bearings. The other side seems absolutely fine, thank goodness, but no matter what, I definitely needed new brake shoes. And putting this all back together and getting all the settings right might be quite a challenge. It's just one of those jobs that is a fair bit more complicated than one would have first thought. So that's most of the rundown of what we've been doing. All right, so this little gizmo on top of the rocker cover, that's like a filter that deals with the pressure coming from out of the rocker cover. That plumbed itself straight back into the air intake, so that was always kind of filled with oil as it would kind of drain back in. Not ideal for the engine, just a very rudimentary crankcase breathing system. So I've kind of copied what Darren had come up with on his Mog, and I've run it to a catch can, which is down here. That kind of swirls the oil around, the oil mist, and allows it to accumulate at the bottom of this where I can drain it. And then that allows the pressure to flow back into the air intake. So a catch can, and I can drain that from this little stopcock down here in front of the spring. So I can just put like a little cup here, drain it, and then I'll probably just transfer whatever oil it catches just straight into the diesel tank, because Bowser will be able to burn that quite easily. So that's another mod that was done in the engine bay. And all of the plumbing for the turbo and the intercooler was already sorted by Mog Central, so it was just about kind of piecing together like a puzzle to get it to fit properly. So that's one of the benefits of going with a kit that's already been sort of purpose designed for the Mog. Otherwise that would have taken much longer and probably ended up being quite expensive, sourcing all the different Benz, the silicon joiners and things like that. So that was actually pretty easy. Okay, so a little update in the shed. The brakes are all sorted now, they're perfect, and new shoes on both rear wheels. The one we were having difficulty with, that got all sorted. Clearances are perfect, and the brakes are bled, and the handbrake is working really well. And right when we thought we were done with the last mechanical job on Bowser, when we were trying to get the handbrake to engage and disengage, this other rear side was not working at all with the handbrake. So we had to pull that off and spent the entire day. Darren was so patient with it. So all we have to do now is bleed that rear one, and Bowser is mechanically more sound than he's ever been. Which is a really good feeling, even though these fuel prices are meaning we might not be able to do the adventures we had planned. We'll see how things go. I'm sure it's not just us suffering with that one. In fact, we're kind of looking into alternative fuel sources as well. Please let me know if you've got any background or any experience running different fuels in these old engines. I know people say you can chuck anything into them, but I would hate to cause issues with the injectors or anything like that. But we're thinking mixing in some old oil once we filter it could be the way to go. I don't know if we'll go around to mechanics and ask if they have any old oil. I think in Australia, vegetable oil is about the same price as diesel per litre anyway, so that's not any great benefit to us unless diesel runs out completely. But yeah, well, that's something we did not anticipate, of course. This thing isn't exactly the most economical vehicle on the road. Still wouldn't touch an EV, personally, never mind. I got the rear lights on yesterday and all wired up. That was pretty straightforward, and they look way better, and they're now just attached directly to our old toolboxes for now. And another little project I'm working on today, that's just a sneak peek for next week. So gonna go for something a little bit different visually on the side of Bowser. It's a bit of a risk, but we'll see how we go with that. And another little upgrade was changing the snorkel head for a more modern ram style head. The old little hat that came on Bowser, that had kind of completely rusted out and it looked pretty ancient and gross. So we don't really drive in convoy at all. So it's very rare that we're driving through a ton of dust, unless we're kind of temporarily following a road train. So I'm not fussed about that pulling in more dust into the airbox. The filter system seems really good on Bowser, and I'll just monitor it like I always have and clean it out and dust it off as often as I need to. But I think that modernizes the look, and it'll ensure that Bowser's getting adequate airflow into the engine. So once we bleed that last brake, we're pretty much officially ready to take Bowser for its first test drive since all the upgrades have been done. So I'm really looking forward to that. That'll be in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching this one, guys, and we'll see you on the next.